this video, I decided to reveal the top 10 areas, the hotspots, the goldmine areas in the UK that right now are ripe for investing. So these are the top 10 areas. Now, I've done this based on not just return on investment or yield, but also how good it is for serviced accommodation, how open the people are in the market for doing flips, BRRs, how well it works for different strategies, not just capital appreciation, ROI, looking at the whole picture. So I'm going to give you the 10 best areas. I also need you to know about some of the areas to avoid as well. So stay tuned, enjoy. Number 10 is Bristol. Bristol is getting very, very expensive right now. So for capital appreciation, it seems very good, but also for flips. If you're buying something run down in Bristol, live there maybe, do it up. Wait for a bit of capital appreciation. After a couple of years, sell it, pay zero tax because you live there. It's also quite good for serviced accommodation. Although it's expensive, there's areas around Bristol that are more expensive. So Bristol's a solid number 10. Number 9 is Birmingham. Birmingham is an area I know really well. I've got a lot of property in Birmingham. The experts are saying that 26% growth is expected over the next 5 years in Birmingham, which is pretty good compared to what they're saying across the rest of the country. So high expected capital appreciation. There's a good demand. Yields and return on investment are okay. Birmingham has got quite expensive. That's why it's number 9. Also, regulations on things like HMOs, selective licensing, are quite tight and quite restricted. But listen, it's one of the biggest, most popping cities in the UK. Rents are good. Yields are okay. Expected capital appreciation is good. You can do BRRs, you can do serviced accommodation. So it's a solid 9. Wolverhampton is 8. It's basically Birmingham, but it's Birmingham's northern sister, which is just a little bit cheaper. I got a bunch of houses in Wolverhampton too, and they do pretty good. Next up, number 7 is Sheffield. I did a financial freedom challenge in Sheffield. Sheffield is a pretty solid area. It's number 7 because you can go to some of the outskirts of Sheffield and you can get pretty good yields of around 10%. But if you're doing serviced accommodation, you can expect to get £90 per night in the right area, which means you can do things like rent to serviced accommodation. You can do buy serviced accommodation. You can buy and sit and hold and get a decent yield with good capital appreciation expected, similar to that of Birmingham. So Sheffield, bit more affordable, slightly higher yields, solidly in 7th place. Followed by, slightly better, number 6, Nottingham. Here's why I like Nottingham. There's a lot of those big old Victorian houses that you can turn into studios and rent to social housing providers. There's a lot of social housing providers in and around Nottingham, which will give you guaranteed long-term rent. You can push the values up nicely in Nottingham as well. There's quite a lot of rundown homes, big properties. You get a lot for your money. I've got a lot of students killing it right now in Nottingham, so that's why Nottingham is number 6. Number 5, Glasgow. Now, I've never invested in Scotland at all. I've got a lot of students that do. And as far as Scotland is concerned, Glasgow's number 1. The rules are a little different in Scotland. Serviced accommodation is regulated. So if you're doing short-term lets, it's regulated. Also, if you're doing purchase lease options, that's also slightly different. You can do delayed sales. So Scotland's a little bit of a different beast. But here's why I like Glasgow. Glasgow's one of the fastest growing cities in the whole of the United Kingdom. I believe that the capital growth in Glasgow is high, probably even higher than Birmingham. Obviously, different economists have got different perspectives slightly, but everybody agrees that Glasgow is going up in value. You can get very decent yields of around 9% in Glasgow. House prices, there's a lot of areas in Glasgow which are not that expensive, although they're going up and the ripple is beginning to happen. But here's another thing. There's loads of rundown opportunities in Glasgow, dilapidated properties that you can push the value up and you can do as a BRR. Another thing about Scotland I really like is the fact that when sellers sell a house, they have to provide a home buyers report so you can see what the GDV is, what the value is, if it's been surveyed, it's all clear, it's all up front. If you're buying a property in Scotland, as soon as you put your offer on, it's been accepted, you have to buy it, no messing. So if I was going to go to Scotland, I would go to Scotland. And if I did go, I'd probably go Glasgow, which is a very solid number 5. Number 4 is Newcastle. Why would you not go to Newcastle? Serviced accommodation gives you higher rent in Newcastle than it does in Birmingham in some areas. So the service, you expect to get about £110, £120 per night. And it's a lot cheaper still. The yields in Newcastle are high. So service accommodation's banging. It's not regulated. Capital appreciation is expected to be 28%, which is, again, higher than Birmingham, higher than Sheffield, higher than Glasgow. So Newcastle is banging. It's so far, though, from where I live. But There's so many opportunities. There's BRR opportunities. There's flips. You can do lease options. You can do serviced accommodation. Love Newcastle. Solid number 4. Number 3, Manchester. Manchester is becoming the new. I think it's already happened, hasn't it? I think Manchester has probably overtaken Birmingham. Would you say so? You got London number 1. I think Manchester's pretty much stolen Birmingham's second place now. It is a northern powerhouse. When you go to Manchester, you can't get a hotel when you go to Manchester unless you book way in advance. It is nice. It's pretty clean compared to Birmingham. It's popping. House prices are expected to raise by 30% by 2030. So in the next few years, we're expecting house prices to go up by 30% in Manchester, which is great. There's loads of opportunities to buy properties, push the value up. There is Article 4, so if you're doing HMOs, it's a little bit regulated. Loads of housing providers, and the people in Manchester are pretty entrepreneurial. I've been to Manchester. I've done financial freedom challenges there. It is a fantastic city to invest. And there's loads of outskirts as well of Manchester where you can still buy houses really cheap if you want to do that as well and get really high yields. Number 2 is Leeds. Now, Leeds is basically very similar to Manchester, but house prices are about 40% cheaper. So everything I just said about Manchester, you can pretty much apply to Leeds, whereas it's like its slightly younger sister with cheaper houses and higher yields. And number 1, first place, what do you reckon? Liverpool. Liverpool. This is so. I wish I lived in Liverpool. If I just lived in Liverpool, I would just buy houses every day. The houses are still cheap. You can buy houses for like 80, 90 grand. The yields are the highest in the country in Liverpool. You can do HMOs. Sure, there's some Article 4 there now, as from a few years ago, but housing associations, serviced accommodation works well in Liverpool. Liverpool, you can do BRR. It's just a hotspot for investors. So, and what's beginning to happen is investors are now rushing to places like Liverpool and are pushing the prices up. And that's why the economists say that, again, we're expected to get by 2030 a 30% increase in houses in Liverpool. That is going to beat inflation, and that's not including the rents, the yields, or the return. So, and not including you pushing the values up. That's just assuming you did nothing. Liverpool is number 1. Now, listen, there's more on the list. I've also got some areas to avoid. So not to invest, and why. And I go into much more detail about this in a manual that I've created. I've created a full PDF download where I give you the full list of all the different areas, the areas to avoid, the hotspots, why, the rationale behind it. If you want to get that, I'm going to give that completely for free. I want everybody to know this information. So I've left a link in the description where you can get all the hotspots, the places to avoid, the places to buy in my brand new downloadable PDF. Click the link, get the download. You are very welcome. Thank you for subscribing.